Hey, this is Chadillac, and I'm live talking about the UFC 239. Just watched the undercard, getting ready to start the main ticket. It's looking great. I'm sitting here in my living room, chilling out. Listen, Menendez, you know, it's difficult for me to say whether or not he should retire because I know a few things about him that maybe a lot of people don't know just yet. Um, I'm I've been cleared to say this. He's had stem cell treatment at the same place that my son has stem cell treatment. Therefore, um, he just had them, and that means that they haven't had time to really kick in yet and do the things they need to do. So don't look for Melendez to retire just yet. But out of this, if I didn't know what I know, out of watching what I just saw, I would say, Gilbert, it's time to be over with. But what it really shows more than anything else is AAA, Allen Almighty, uh, Almighty Allen. What he did was he was hopping on his feet. He was doing all the things he needed to do to shuffle and stay on his toes, not on his heels. Gilbert laid flat, so he bounced up and he bounced down. He bounced up, he bounced down. In other words, when he was moving and he was trying to stay flowing, what he was really doing was he was doing what we used to call the wrestler's flow, which was we have to be ready for a shot, we have to be ready to box. It never made any sense, and I'm not sure how we all came up with it in the old days, but he's an old school fighter, and Allen is the new school fighter. So if you go back and you check on what Miguel and I talked about earlier today and what Devin and I talked about earlier this week, I think Miguel was in on that one too. I know what Devin and Amanda talked about earlier this week about this fight. We've done a lot of coverage on this, and the thing that you're going to notice is the undercard was built to show off the new fighters, not the old. Claudia Goodell, Goodell looked, and I love her. She's one of my favorites. She's not Joanna Joan Jacek to me, but she is one of my favorites, and she did not show well at all tonight against a girl who's barely better than an amateur. So keep that in mind that Claudia is probably not the person you need to look at as coming into and dominating the sport for the next several years. In other words, she's going out. She's 30 years old. Look, in MMA, especially in the UFC and even in Bellator and in one, the higher ranking shows 20 is the new 30, okay? If you're not 25 years old, you're an old man or an old woman in this sport, and that's just kind of how it is. Get used to it. It's coming. I'm getting ready for the main card. I just wanted to step in and say real quick that that was a really good undercard. Not quite as good as I expected, but the Vera fight was really, really good. I enjoyed that quite a bit, and Hernandez showed off some real moxie and talent. Thank God we're finally seeing people go back to the idea of, hey, I'm going to wrestle. I'm going to integrate my BJJ into it. I'm going to box when I need to. I'm going to do takedowns. I'm going to pull guard if I need to. I'm going to take the back. I'm going to attack from all positions. And I'm not going to be as scared. I'm not going to be scared. I'm not going to be afraid to attack from any of these positions. Thank God that's finally happening again because I get so sick and tired of seeing sparring matches out there. And I always say, if I want to pay $65 or $75 for a sparring match, oh yeah, I don't. So thank you, UFC, for putting together a great undercard. I enjoyed most of it. The Cadella fight was pretty bad. The rest of them were really good fights, really exciting. First fight was just an absolute brutal knockout. That right came at the perfect time. Um, Yadong he's an up and comer, and it also goes back to my theory that the UFC is trying very hard and they're being less and less patient about the idea of, hey, let's get out there, let's take over continents at a time, and let's start to develop a continental UFC, which is what we're getting ready to see. Until next time, I'm still with you here. I love you guys. Thanks for joining me in Chadillac Chat. This is the CRP. Keep checking us out. We'll see you again real soon.